Hello, Royals. It's Duchess DJ Love here with Gallivanting Like a Royal. Just wanted to say hello, first of all. I hope you're doing well. And thank you for watching Gallivanting Like a Royal, where we discuss travel inspiration and how to live a royal lifestyle. So again, thank you for joining. I have a full hour planned for you tonight. Hello, Royals. Duchess DJ Love here.
Just want to give another shout out to our sponsor before we close out. Do that now. And she's got a book coming out that's going to give you all kinds of great tips for travel, etc.
Hello, Royals. This is my book, Travel To by Duchess DJ Love, me, your host of Gallivanting Like a Royal. You can purchase this book on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. Please support my journey and go to my website at gallivantinglikearoyal.com for more blogs, more insights, and updates on my featured shows. Well, greeting, Royals. Sorry about the delay in that. I'm still learning how to use this equipment in StreamYard. So thank you for joining us tonight. I have a fabulous guest for you. She lives the life that I want to have. So I'm so honored and feel so grateful to have her on tonight. So before I tell you a little bit about her, I would like to tell you some lessons that I learned from the first episode. And as you can tell, my allergies are bothering me. So my voice is kind of scratching. It's going and coming. And I apologize for that up front. I was told to face the camera, to look at the audience when I do a show. However, as you know, when you go live, we have lives. things happen. So if I happen to look this way, even though I'm talking and paying attention to my guests, I'm not being rude or ignoring them. There's something over here that demands my attention. My mom has dementia, so you never know where she's at or what she's doing. So I kind of have to keep tabs on things to look after her, make sure she's okay. There could be other things going on as well that may cause me to look in this direction or look in that direction. So I'm not being rude and I'm not being disrespectful. Just know that things happen and, you have to look elsewhere. Also, I have a laptop with a not up-to-date camera. So when I use my laptop, the photos are most of the time not crystal clear. I'm using my cell phone right now so you can see the video crystal clear. However, with the Wi-Fi being spotty and iffy, I may have to go use the Wi-Fi on the laptop, which be a little staticky as far as the photo, but I'm just giving you heads up of what to expect. I appreciate your patience and I thank you for the grace that you're allowing me to practice and perfect this. Like I say, I'm not a pro at this, so I'm learning as we go. So thank you for that. Also, there's a couple people that gave me some tips that I want to give a shout out to. That's Mandy Robinson. So thank you, Mandy, for giving me some tips on last Sunday's show. I appreciate that. And Neelish Jane, thank you. He sent me a video, giving me pointers. He's excellent. I want to give them a shout out later about their background because you may want to reach out to them and get some of their assistance. But without further ado, I'm going to remove me and I want to show you a little clip about our guest to warm things up a little bit. Just a tease it, just a tad bit. So hang with me, okay? Well, welcome back, guests. Now, to bring on my fabulous new friend who lives the life that I want to have, a suitcase and a smile, let's give a warm welcome for Miss Christine. I think it's Gawlik. She'll help me with that.
Hi there, it's Christina Gawlik.
Gawlik, okay. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate having you on. And since I know a little bit about you, the audience doesn't. So can you kind of fill us in on who Christina is and what Christina does and why you live the life that I want?
Sure. Well, my name's Christina and I'm originally from Kansas. I was born and raised there and did all my education there. And then, but I've always moved around a lot. So I was very fortunate that my parents enjoyed travel, and so they would take me to places when I was younger, and even my parents divorced when I was 10, so I was used to living in two different homes anyways, and always packing a suitcase or a bag and going between the homes. And then as I was getting older as a teenager, and then in my 20s, I would still do a lot of traveling with my mom. We just enjoyed going on cruises together or doing road trips. And as a young adult, I kept moving around, and I've lived in 5 different states. I kept on chasing different careers. I'm essentially a math educator in mathematics. I've taught high school. I have my PhD, and I went on to become a university professor. I've worked for a couple educational technology companies, and I've freelanced and done a whole bunch of other odds and ends jobs throughout my life. It's funny, I'll never forget a couple of my friends, especially back in my early university years. One particular person, his name was Chris too. He always called me the overachiever in the group. And I'm like, yeah, I am. And there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. So I have a lot of hobbies and interests, and man, I just want to pursue my goals. So I feel like I've kind of always been that type of person. And I'm 43 today. And let's see, I was 39 when I left the US and sold everything. I just got to the point where I wanted to travel and not be on a vacation. We all know we can plan a week or 2 week vacation if you're lucky to get that much time off. And but you cram a whole bunch of activities into that short amount of time, and it's exhausting.
Yes.
So when you come back, you need a vacation from a vacation. We've all said that, right? So I decided since I was already used to moving all over the United States anyways, and chasing different careers or whatnot, I had been working for myself for a while at the time that I decided to sell everything and just head out into the world and live in a whole bunch of different countries for a short amount of time in each place and get to know what it's like to live in different countries and learn more about the world beyond what I can look up online or read in a book or listen in a podcast. I really want to experience it for myself. So that's what I'm doing. And I've been doing it since June of 2019.
Well, first of all, I'm so proud of you, and I think you're so brave. I mean, and courageous at the same time, because it takes guts to sell everything you got, and with your security, as we like to say, we have, and follow your dreams. So I admire you for that too, because there may be people in the audience out there thinking, well, I would like to follow my dreams too, but I'm scared, or I don't, what if I fail, or I go, you can always come back and get a job. I mean, especially now. But you read,
Yeah, I mean, you can get a job anywhere doing anything. There's so many jobs in the world. I mean, granted, working abroad is different legally, and this and that. But yes, if something goes wrong and I need to get an in-person job, of course I can fly back to the U.S. and I can pick up anything just about. But I'm glad that you brought up the fact that a lot of people are scared and that you consider me courageous and everything, because I have learned to question everything that I was taught my whole entire life. You know, why are we scared? What are we scared of? Why are we thinking the way that we do? And I mean, my point of view is this: what is the absolute worst case scenario that's going to happen? I mean, ultimately, we all are going to die at some point in time. That is just the fact, the truth. And so I actually talk about death quite a bit to my friends and family, because I am doing everything I want to do. I'm pursuing my goals and my passions. And if something takes me out right now, don't be sad, because I'm living my best life and I'm glad I'm doing it. So obviously I want to be around as long as I can, but I'm not scared. What is there to be scared of? If you don't like something, then change your situation and pivot and go in another direction, you
exactly.
know?
And like I say, you don't want to die with dreams. You want to die with memories, and you're experiencing those memories right now. You're bringing your world to life. And hey, and to people like me and the viewers too, you're sharing this, letting us know this is possible. And I'm just like, wow. But you mentioned that you had two goals before you started traveling: to be independent and to see the world. Can you elaborate a little bit on those, and how, and kind of what got that mindset for you just to sell everything and leave? I mean, how that kind of thought process happened?
Yeah. So, I've always enjoyed travel. And I think it was back in 2017, I was working for a company and they sent me out to Dubai and Qatar for work. And, I had never been to the Middle East. Honestly, I had never heard of the country of Qatar. I am familiar with Dubai, as it's a major business international hub across the world. And I went out for this, I think it was like a 10-day work trip. Oh my gosh, we worked 16-hour days the whole entire time, but it was amazing. And the woman I was there to support knew it was my first time really traveling like across the pond, as we call it, far away abroad. And she, although we worked very long days, she did her best to take me to the major highlights like the Burj Khalifa and some other places. She's like, okay, she'd have the taxi driver stop. She'd push me out of the car. She'd take my picture in front of a place. I'd jump back in and then we go again. So it was just amazing. And I got to see people that were wearing dramatically different clothes than me, you know, women that are covered, men in these uniforms or outfits that is just totally different from where I grew up in Kansas or Texas, Louisiana, Illinois, Arizona. The Muslim culture is what I'm talking about. So, but I was just fascinated. I was like, wow, I really just don't know about any of this. I haven't been taught in school or with my community of family and friends. And after I came back, my sister and I did our very first cruise, Mediterranean cruise, no, Greek Isle cruise for the next year. And she and I went on that. And I think it was like our third day on the ship. We ended up buying points or a package for like the next year. I had never been to Europe and we were just having a blast. I just remember being in Italy and my eyes were just popping out of my head. I was like, wow, this world is huge. And although I understand the United States is a very large country, my world has been open and I realized I was really living in a small bubble. So that helped me, you know, get that spark going that I knew I had so much more to learn in life and that it wasn't going to happen in books and online and whatnot. So, and I wanted to experience it myself. So that's the first part. I want to live across the world so I can learn and I can explore and open up my mind to new experiences. And I absolutely love that part. And the second aspect is the financial independence. Let's see, like I said, I sold everything in 2019 and left. And so it was about 2017, 2018 that I came across these fire groups, FIRE. And I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, what is
And
it?
it's called yeah, Fire Group. It's a community. So financial independence, retire early. And so I found these groups on Facebook. And so I joined them and I'm just reading this information and I'm hearing people of all ages, you know, from their 20s to 60s, you know, talking about retirement. And then the people in their 20s and 30s talking about retiring early. I'm sitting here like, huh? How do you do that? You know, what is that about? You know, and so I dove in deep. I started listening to all the podcasts. I found the most popular books, and to be dead serious, I'm super embarrassed as a mathematician that my light bulb didn't go off earlier. But it really just comes down to this. You know, you need to earn more money than you spend,
Yes.
and that difference, we call it the savings gap. You need to save and invest. You need to put that money in places to where it's going to work for you. So it's going to continue to earn money as opposed to like putting it in a bag underneath your bed.
Yeah.
Although that can serve its purpose too. But yeah, so I learned about these techniques and not to say that I hadn't already saved. You know, I had saved some, and actually, looking back now, I was a much better saver than I gave credit to. It was the investment part that I just really didn't know anything about until recently. And I learned that information, and then here I am today in a few years of selling myself, selling my stuff and leaving just with a small suitcase and not being in a position to buy things. I spend my money on experiences now, not on like tangible objects. I have saved so much more money with this lifestyle, and with that, I have been able to become financially independent. I'm very comfortable now. I mean, I don't have enough for the rest of my life, but I've got this large chunk. I've hit magic number and a formula that if I let that, stay in my investments, it's going to grow over time. And so at the age when I think I want to start pulling on my money, I will have enough to get me through a long life, if I'm lucky enough to live a long life. So, so I've just been able to take this knowledge that I learned from this other community I hadn't heard about, and pair it with. I also learned about the nomad communities, digital nomads, or just expats, expatriates, people who have moved to other countries from their home or citizenship country. And I've taken all of this information and I put it together and was able to make my dreams come true. But it took the time and effort to learn and research and teach myself and ask questions. I'm really big about asking questions, and yeah, I mean, it works. You can live a happy, healthy life, below your means and doing fabulous things. So yeah.
Well, I was about to say, you don't look like you're sad or depressed because you sold everything and moved away. I mean, you exude enthusiasm. So that tells me a lot about your journey too, is that you are truly happy with it and it's working. And I know you visited numerous countries. Like I said, I was showing the clip earlier with the different ones that you checked off. So I guess when you were creating this list, did you have a bucket list of places that were just like at the top of your I must go to first? Or how did you choose where you went when you began this journey?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I think because of my early experiences, as I mentioned, going to Dubai and Qatar, and then my sister and I going over to Europe, it was then that I started like Googling and looking into more countries,
Right.
and that it was on my radar. Whereas like before that, sure, I like to travel, but it wasn't in my everyday conversation or looking up stuff online or the groups that I was in at the time. And once I started just looking at stuff, I mean, let's admit, our phones and computers, they listen to what we are talking about, and then they send us all these ads. So it's because of that that I came across places. So I did have, when I left in 2019, I did have a decent plan for about a year and a half. I had something like 13 different countries I was interested in doing, living in, from maybe like a month on the short end to 3 months on the long end. And there was a couple that I was only going to go to for maybe like a 2 week holiday. I was, really being mindful about, why do I want to go there? Because there's nothing wrong with having a holiday. But like I said, I really do like to learn what it's like to live somewhere. So for me, being somewhere at least a month, I find the grocery stores or the markets, the corner markets that I like to go to buy my fruits and vegetables, my meats, cheeses. You can't get cheese here in Thailand. Like, that's very frustrating. I miss a good block of cheese, I realized. So, yeah, you learn about the nuances. You get to meet the restaurant owners, the store owners, your neighbors. But yeah, unfortunately, though, as we all know, COVID messed up everything for all of us. So I had to cancel the majority of my plans. I ended up in Belize, and it worked out fabulously. I was in a small village. I made so many awesome friends that I still keep in touch with, and I miss them dearly. Shout out to Lomaine. She was my neighbor dog, and Craig, her owner. I miss Lomaine and them very much. So we, with all the curfews and lockdowns,
Yeah.
the people I was around immediately, we all helped each other, through it. And so I have so many awesome friends from back there that one day I look forward to circling back to that side of the world and seeing them again. But for right now, I'm out in Asia, and and my first time here, and I'm super excited to be here. Sorry, I know I kind of got off on a tangent there a little bit, but
That's
in
okay.
regards to like how I pick my places, some of it was just personal interest. I've heard of these countries before, and when I look up stuff, I'm like, ooh, that looks pretty, that looks neat. Others, it's friends and family that they've been somewhere and they really enjoyed it for one reason. So I've looked it up, and several of the places, like I lived in Aruba for a couple months because my friend Karina had really enjoyed a holiday there a few times before. And then she ended up coming and having Thanksgiving with me there in 2021. So that was a lot of fun to share my experience with her. And she was the one who also suggested Koh Samui, Thailand. That's where I went first. And I'm just lucky to have a friend who travels quite a bit. She's one of my friends from Arizona. And so I get a lot of info from her. But at this point now in time, I'm 4 years into my travel, and I'm just kind of going wherever. So I'm trying not to zigzag as much.
Yeah. And just so you know, we got comments in the chats. People are just like,
Yeah,
wow. Let me gonna put some of them up there real quick so we can show them.
sure. Yeah,
You
I
got
saw Michelle. Aruba was so fun. I have to say, so one thing I loved about Aruba, their beaches are that like white, soft sand, and the water is that light crystal blue or turquoise. I really enjoyed that. I miss that type of sand. I am kind of focusing on beach communities for the most part. I just really love the ocean and looking out in the ocean, and I love snorkeling. So I picked that up when I was living in Belize. Essentially, I was stuck in Belize about 20 months, or stuck at the beginning because nobody could leave. And then I ended up staying a total of 20 months, so almost 2 years. And we did a lot of snorkeling there, and it was just so much fun. So I ended up buying a mask and a snorkel, and so that's kind of my item that I love a lot because I do have a really nice mask and it's expensive. So I'm trying to keep that in my bag, but I'm trying to travel light, so it's tough. It's one of my things that I'm like, man, I really wish I could part with this, but I like it too much because it's really handy. I always stick it in my beach bag, and if I have the opportunity to jump in the water and throw my mask on for a little bit and swim around and see some cool fish, or maybe there's coral nearby, I try and do that. So it's great to have it on hand.
wow. Well, too, you could always, use it as a hairband too. I mean, if you run out of storage space in your bag, I mean, we can get fast.
Right.
I mean, we can create a new fashion statement. I mean, you might start a trend.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
you can have your own.
We have all the tricks of
Oh,
wearing like layers of clothes on the airplane, yeah. So, but maybe my snorkel mask will go on my head soon. Yeah.
yes. Well, I'm going to give you a minute to just, chill for a little bit, just so the audience knows. Christina hasn't felt well this week. So, and then me, my allergies, our voices are kind of little scratchy, I said. So we're just going to take a minute, but I want to honor my sponsor, give her a shout out today too. Hello, Royals. Duchess DJ Love here.
I just want to give another shout out to our sponsor before we close out. Do that now. And she's got a book coming out that's going to give you all kinds of great tips for travel. That's it.
More about me, because I don't think I've done this in a while. Again, Duchess DJ Love, Gallivanting Like A Royal is my platform to share love while exploring the world. I'm a frequent traveler, flying in friendly skies regularly, a freelance travel blogger. So if someone wants to hire me to do their blog, hey, give me a shout out.
and I'm a published author, as I mentioned, with Travel Tube. My background includes a lifetime of local and abroad traveling, 20 plus years of wealth management while overseeing millions of dollars in the public and private sectors, including some of my own. A travel enthusiast, avid reader, amateur photographer. I'm getting better with the photography. I'm going to soon call me a professional photographer because I'm really getting good at that. And my educational background, let's know I got a little knowledge up here. I do have a master's of business administration, a bachelor of science in finance with a specialization in commercial banking. So I do know a little bit about money, and minor in economics because I learned in college the opportunity cost, which I think we all need to know. What is the opportunity cost of what we do with our money? Because money does matter. That book is coming out soon too, by the way. Let's see. Oh, I'm a former licensed securities trader. So, I do know a thing about the stock market. Mostly just a traveler and seeker of wisdom and making people successful. Hey, I've been blessed. Why not bless those that are in my path to, help out? And so while you're on this, I just want you to learn and grow and be happy this is all about the love. And with my show, you never know what to expect because the unexpected always happens. I may have a surprise guest here and there. You never know.
Hi, I'm Duchess DJ Love, host of Gallivanting Like a Royal, where we discuss travel inspiration and how to live a royal lifestyle. So join us on Sundays at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on the Fresh Takes TV network, streaming on the E360 TV platform.
If we froze.
I think we're good.
Oh, good. Okay. Yes. I was like, okay. Oh, but this internet connection is spotty. You never know how it's going. So where are you off to next?
So I recently just decided I'm going to do what we call a border run, and I'm gonna come back and hang here in Thailand for a while. So I'm in a town called Hua Hin, or a city, Huahin, Hua Hin. I think that's how you pronounce it. And it's a long, skinny beach community, and it's a nice mix of condos and resort modern living. Yet it's so relaxed. Everyone's really, really nice. I do own an online business. I'm in the mathematics editorial services field, I guess. We work with textbook publishers on your math textbooks, say for university and K-12. And 2 years ago, I kind of changed my role in the business. I was using contractors, and I was more in the back end doing some managerial project management stuff. And a few months ago, some things had changed with the people that were working with me, and life happens. So I'm kind of reevaluating what I want to do with my business. And because I found this great city in Thailand where I can relax, and I love the place that I'm renting right now. I'm in this gorgeous condo. It's really a resort that I'm in, but it's an apartment. It's really cool. So I think I'm actually today, when we're done, I'm going to go down to the local immigration office, because when I entered Thailand, I got 45-day stamp, so I can legally be here for 45 days, which will end for me on the 20th of this month. I'm going to go in today, and I can get a 30-day extension.
Cool.
Which I had already planned for. I knew I could do that. And so I have this apartment until the end of that extension, just about. But what I'll do at that point in the middle of February is that I'm going to jump on a train, and I'm going to head south to Malaysia and cross the border, and then turn around and come back. I have to wait like 5 or 6 hours for the next train that goes back. So it's a night train. So it'll kind of take me, a day and a half or so to go down, get my passport stamped in Malaysia, turn around, come back into Thailand. So when I re-enter Thailand, I'll get another 45-day entry. So they call it like a reset. You know, your time is resetting. Every country is different, so it takes a lot of, you know, research on that. But I'll get another 45 days, which then I can do another 30-day extension on that. So essentially, you get, like, if you want, you can stay 2.5 months in, you know, one setting without having to leave and come back. So yeah, I originally wasn't planning on doing that. I was planning on being here until mid-February, and then like going over to Vietnam and then Cambodia. But I found out both of those countries, you can only stay 30 days, and then you have to do a border run to come back in. Where here in Thailand, as I mentioned, I can just go to an immigration office and pay for an extension. So until I need to do my border run. So I traveled very quickly last year, and I'm ready to just like relax for a bit. I'm tired. So yeah, so I'll do my border run so I can stay in Thailand longer. I think that will, you know, that whole process should put me till the end of March, but I don't have to stay that long, or excuse me, the end of April, into early May. So we'll kind of see. But I do know that I want to stay in this general region. So I do want to go to Malaysia, and I can, when I enter there, I can stay 90 days, so 3 months.
Oh,
And I do want to get to Vietnam and Cambodia. And then I'm interested in Singapore. That's adjacent to Malaysia. So I'm trying to stay like in this little area of Southeast Asia. So I'm not like flying, you know, all over the place, because that can get expensive.
yeah.
And later this year, my mom and I, we try and meet up once or twice a year, but this year we're doing a really big bucket list trip, and we're going to meet in Australia and New Zealand.
Yes.
And I know, we're really, really excited. She is going to be able to travel for 6 weeks. So we're working on the logistics for that, but that's September to October. Those 2 months will be together because of weather and her schedule and everything. So I'm trying to fill my time between then, because I would like to fly to Australia or New Zealand. I don't know where we're meeting first, from either Singapore, because they have such a big airport. But a friend of mine actually told me to fly there from like Malaysia, because the flights should be cheaper, because Singapore is an expensive country.
Well,
They have this huge. Yeah. So it's just about like price pointing it out. So when it gets closer, so once, you know, kind of July, August rolls around, I'll pay a little closer attention to like, where am I, and planning ahead for when I'm going to meet up with my mother. And then I'll place myself in the country I want to then fly from to get to Australia or New Zealand. So it does take planning and logistics and looking forward, but at the same time I can be flexible for like what I'm doing right now. I'm just like, you know, I'll be around this general area for the majority of this year.
well, then, Chris, I'm gonna have to have you on as a regular guest just to give us an update, okay? And I have
Where am I now?
yes, and I have your website information scrolling across the bottom. So if you want to tell our audience about your website, how to contact you or get in touch with you to find out more about you, or to especially follow your journeys like I'm going to do.
Yeah, so that website, I know it's a really long URL. I apologize for that, but I'm frugal in this sense. I don't feel like I should have to pay for a website because I'm not monetizing it. That website I use to write longer blog posts about more of the nuances and details. So, you know, how do I pick my destinations? How do I find my accommodations? What do I need to know about like cell phone and internet data? A lot of people ask questions about that. Health insurance, safety, all of that. So I don't post on there a ton, but I have some topics I'm getting ready to write on about expenses and budgeting. But my day-to-day travels that I do, I put on my Facebook page, which is A Suitcase and a Smile. And let's see
And
here. I don't know.
that Suitcase and a Smile captured me, buddy. I had to read about her and find out what was going on. Some beautiful.
Yeah. So the funny thing about A Suitcase and a Smile is that back in like 1980 or 1981, Coca-Cola had a TV commercial out, A Coke and a Smile. And for some reason that popped in my head several years ago. And I'm like, and so I Googled it because I knew I couldn't remember what it was, but there was something in the back of my head about something in a smile. And yeah, it came up to be A Coke and a Smile. And I'm like, well, how about a suitcase and a smile? Because that's what I'm doing. So,
well,
yeah.
It's funny you say that because Coca-Cola has stuck in my head since a child, where I remember they were singing a lot. I can't sing, so I can't my voice right now, but we like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. So that's one of the Coca-Cola is really good at branding because it sticks in your minds and you don't forget it. So, Coca-Cola did pay us for some advertisement.
Yeah. I am looking for a small suitcase, but not too tiny, like a dollhouse.
Right.
But I need something like in between. And it would be awesome if I could find I don't know if you've heard of Flat Stanley. It's something to do with like kids and in school, but like it's a printout or a cutout, and maybe there's a childhood book about it. And he travels the world. So the idea is that you hold up this Flat Stanley in your pictures to show where he has been. So I don't know all the details about it. I vaguely know that a bit, but that's why it's like I would love to find. Maybe I need to make a cutout somehow. Get somewhere where I can get a printer and get a printout of a suitcase and then hold it up next to me with my smile and say, "This is where I am now." When I first started out, safety is a topic, and I went to Mexico first, and so I would send proof of life photos to my parents, which is mostly like me in front of a beach. Or a lot of these places have the big, beautiful, colorful signs.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Puerto Morelos and Playa del Carmen and Tulum, and so I would take a picture in front of these signs and send them, text them to my parents like, "I'm still alive." And it's so funny because now this last year, since I was moving so fast in 2022, like my parents just like kind of stopped contacting me. I was like, "Don't you care where I am?" And it's not that they don't care, but they know I'm fine. And we actually track each other on our phones. We all have iPhones, and we use the Find My app, which is great because so I know it's nighttime for you, but it's 10:30 in the morning for me. So I'm 12 hours ahead of Eastern time. So that app is great because all of my family members travel too. So I can look up to see where they are. And then I look at the time difference. And then that will tell me, am I going to call them, text them, or just send them an email if it's in the middle of their night to keep in touch. So, so there's,
I said that's important to find a way to stay in touch with everybody too. I mean, because like I say, we do wonder, if people are safe or, if they're okay. I mean, you never know these days what's going on. So I was wondering how you kept in contact with your relatives and people and where they're going and how y'all can connect up sometimes. I think that's fascinating.
Yeah. I know my mom looks at my Facebook page a lot because I do on my public page a suitcase and a smile. I post regularly about what I'm doing and this and that, and often it is pretty close to about the time that I'm doing something or the day past. So and honestly, there's that little green light on Facebook Messenger that shows if you're online or not. So that's nice because if I see that her little green light is on, then I know I can like message because we all go to bed at different times and wake up. and some nights we sleep well and some we don't, and we're up, and yeah, so it's nice to have those little indicators. I mean, it's a bit of cyber stalking, but I mean, honestly, hey, it makes it easy to figure out, who's online, who's awake, who wants to say hello. But the FaceTime or using the video and Facebook Messenger has been great to stay in touch with everyone. And then I'll, show them video around my place, where I'm at or whatever. So it's nice.
Well, I look forward to those posts that you put on A Suitcase and a Smile, because I'm just like, oh, I can't wait to go there. I'm like, oh, wow, that looks so beautiful, And so, folks like me that love travel appreciate you sharing all this and sharing the tips. Like, I know you showed a few posts where you took a bus route and how you figured that out. Because I don't remember exactly where you were going, but you're like, I think this is going to work. This is how I'm trying to get there. So,
yeah, there's, I rely on a lot of different apps, especially when I get somewhere and I haven't made a friend yet. And for example, the people I'm renting from right now, I chose to book this one on Airbnb. Well, the two hosts, they live in the country of Jordan, and they're originally Dutch. I don't know where exactly they're from, but so they're not here. Where other places I rent, the person lives nearby, they're hands on with it. This particular host, they have people to let you in and whatnot. But so it kind of depends. If I have an in-person host, then it is easier to just ask them questions. And normally we will swap phone numbers, and that's great. And there's nothing wrong with my current host being a little bit more hands-off. I am perfectly capable of going up to someone and asking questions, So you just have to be flexible and adapt, and it all works out. So yeah.
Posted your Facebook link into the comments, so if the audience wants to follow you like I do, they can. And again, I would like to give a shout out to my sponsor, who I'm very pleased that they sponsor me. So thank you for my Ladies of Leadership and Nikki Cuesta. She just published a new book on leadership mindset. So we have a lot of talented people, in our circles, and we're just so grateful to have you on here. So thank you. And do you have any final shares for the audience, or anything that you think we might benefit from?
Just get out there and go to places that you're interested in, whatever sparks your interest. And I know a lot of people like to go to all-inclusive resorts, and I still do that from time to time too, but don't be afraid to rent an actual apartment somewhere or just a regular hotel and get out there, go to the grocery stores, go to the smaller restaurants where locals go, and just, put a smile on your face and be kind, and people will be kind back to you. And it is not a scary world. There's just so many good people out here, and that's what's making my life experiences even more spectacular than what I kind of initially expected from this journey. It's a big, beautiful world. So go and see and learn and have fun, and if things don't go as planned, don't worry about it, just let it roll off. Be okay to be flexible. It's just hard because I'm really big into logistics and planning, but I'm getting a lot better to be like, I'll figure it out.
Oh, well, that has been fascinating to learn about, and I just again appreciate you coming on. And we'll schedule another time to have you back when both our voices are feeling much better. Because you're going to be traveling a lot, so I'm going to be in touch. And for the audience, I have the Facebook information up for you now, and I'll show you hold on a second here. Me and my technology, I'm still learning how to do all this. Here's Christina's website address again, so you can get in contact with her. And again, Christina, thank you for joining tonight. And it's your morning for you, so I really appreciate it. And I look forward to having you on again. And so, bye-bye.
Absolutely. Bye. Ciao.
Okay, Royals, I hope you enjoyed that. Again, I would like to give my appreciation to my sponsor, Ladies of Leadership, Nikki Cuesta. Thank you so much, Nikki. Appreciate you viewers for watching tonight. I hope you learned something. I hope you're ready to travel. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Jean. Thank you, Shannon. I appreciate everyone coming on tonight. And my voice is about out, so I will talk with you guys later. Just FYI, I have someone from Australia that's going to come on the show. I have someone from Hawaii lined up. Have someone from East Africa, South Africa. So we got some traveling places to show off. So just hang in there with me. Thank you again for your patience with me and learning how to do all this. It's a process. So good night. And tomorrow is Friday. Work for the weekend. So bye, Royals. Hello, Royals. Duchess DJ Love here. Gallivanting Like a Royal.